So looking over this introduction, you can see that there's quite a few errors in red, and we'll note that the very first sentence here about agriculture emerging and replacing hunting and gathering and the beginning of the patriarchy, well, this context is a bit too far in the past. See, our time frame is the 600s to 1450s. We want to make sure that our context is relevant to what we're talking about. For instance, if somebody asked me how I'm doing today, okay, my thesis or my claim would be, I'm not doing okay. Like, let's just use that as an example because it's easier. So I'm going to have to explain in my thesis why. What are your categories? So my thesis, I'm not having a good day today because bills were due, and I have a headache, and I just had a really busy week this week. Okay, I'm not giving all of my evidence, right? I'm not going into detail about, well, why was my week so busy? What did you have to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc.? Instead, I'm just giving these broad categories for my thesis. Now, for my context, background information, if my claim is I'm having a bad day today in response to the question, how are you? Then I'm not going to want to give background information going all the way back to the day I was born. It's like, oh, that's where it all started. No, instead, I'm going to give context that's a little bit more relevant to the topic at hand, right? Like the trauma of my birth does not have anything to do with why today I'm not doing so well. So instead, I might talk about stresses that have happened this month. Or for instance, let's say that the person who asked me how I'm doing asked in April, right before AP exams, but after spring break. That is not a good time. Or let's say that someone asked me on Friday the 13th when there was a full moon that night. That, if you're a teacher, you know what that means, that things are about to get crazy. So instead of giving context about, oh, I'm having a rough day because, I was born in this year, instead I would talk about, well, the night before, the cats kept me up because they kept jumping on me and chasing each other, and they got the zoomies, so I didn't sleep really well, and so I woke up cranky. Before going into my claim about I have a headache or I had a busy week, I'm just setting up some context, like it's April, right before AP exams, or it's Friday the 13th in October before Halloween, but during a full moon, like just some background information that's relevant to the topic at hand. Talking about farming and the invention of farming, aka the Neolithic Revolution, as we moved from the Stone Age into the farming age, that's way too far back in the past. You're going to want to take something that is in the general time frame of your prompt. So remember that context can be before the time period. So I could talk about things that happened before the year 600, like for instance, the fall of Rome. I could talk about during the time period, so things that happened in this time frame like the Crusades, or I could talk about context for after the time period, which this is the most difficult one for students to do. I would stay away from after context and stick to doing before and during. And remember that your context has to be more than a phrase or a reference, so we're talking 3 to 4 sentences. So when we move into the rest of this paragraph, throughout the period of 600 to 1450 CE, we made a correction there. So this is during context. So throughout this time period, Catholicism split from the Eastern Orthodox Church. Now, if we want to be picky about it, really the Eastern Orthodox Church split from the Catholic Church in the Great Schism of 1054. But, it's a rough draft, so I'm going to take that as, yes, technically there was a split. They just didn't specify clearly who started first. So Catholicism split and became the dominant religion in Western Europe. If you notice all these proper nouns, right? Proper nouns are great for evidence because you are going to need to give specific factual information for your context, but it cannot be the same as the evidence or the SFI you give in your body paragraphs. So if I'm going to talk about polygyny and the patriarchal values of the feudalistic system or something along those lines, that's body paragraph evidence. I'm not going to talk about that in my context. My context is for giving background information. Tell me what's going on during this time in this general area, culturally, religiously, politically, okay, just a basis for what's going on. So, following the fall of Rome, okay, now this context is from before the time period, okay, so you can do more than one. So following the fall of Rome, this western half of the Roman Empire experienced a dark age of decreased trade and education. There used to be a comma here. We took it out because it was a comma splice. It was interrupting a prepositional phrase that was modifying the word dark age. And we had to capitalize dark age because it's a proper noun. Meanwhile, trade on the Silk Road was revived by the Islamic Empire. Well, that's not very specific, so let's name a specific Islamic empire or empires. So the Umayyad dynasty or the Abbasid, although they're in like the 700s. Okay, these are Muslim caliphates that increased trade. Now, technically, the Silk Road trade, a land route, would be really good for East Asia, but we're trying to focus on Southeast Asia. So it might be better to talk about the Indian Ocean as a trade route that Islamic empires helped to revive. So unlike in Europe, oh, look at that comparison, right? But we're not comparing and contrasting gender relations and family structure because we don't want to answer the prompt in our context. We want to give evidence in our body paragraphs. So we're not comparing gender and family between Europe and Asia. Instead, we're comparing religion, which makes sense because the prompt isn't about compare Catholicism and Buddhism. It's asking us to compare social hierarchies, okay, gender and family structure. Unlike in Europe, Asia contained a multitude of religions, including Hinduism, Islam, and Buddhism. Okay, so just looking at these proper nouns, Eastern Orthodox, Roman Empire, Western Europe is in the prompt, so we're not going to count that one. Fall of Rome, Dark Age, Silk Road, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism. That's more than a phrase or a reference, and it doesn't answer the prompt. It's just giving background information. So now the next part we have is our thesis. And in our thesis, we are supposed to show similarities and differences between Europe and Asia as it relates to gender and family. So we're going to need some body paragraph categories. So in Western European Catholicism, technically the proper idiomatic phrase preposition would be with. So with Western European Catholicism and Southeast Asian Buddhism, proper noun, during 600 to 1450 CE, gender relations and family structures shared similarities, directly relating to the historical thinking skill of comparison. They shared similarities in what? Give us a body paragraph. They were similar with patriarchal values and who ran the household. That can be a whole body paragraph by itself, those two things together. I could define patriarchy. I could talk about how males tended to head the household and how women stayed home and tended to the children and had domestic work, right? So we can talk about that as our evidence in our body paragraph. So we've addressed the compare part of the historical thinking skill. Now let's do the contrast part. But retained differences in social practices like marriage. Here's another body paragraph. We're going to contrast marriage in Southeast Asia under Buddhism and Western Europe under Catholicism. Now, marriage relates to gender and family at the same time. So, pretty good topic, right? We can talk all day about polygyny versus monogamy because polygyny is one of the vocabulary terms that shows up on pretty much every ID quiz. So overall, if we're talking about did they get the context point and did they get the thesis point, it looks like they do. They started off a little rough with context that wasn't really relevant. It was too far in the past. But then look at all this proper noun evidence. That's more than a phrase or a reference, and it's relevant to what we're covering. So yes on context. With their thesis, did they answer comparison? Yes, they did. Shared similarities, retained differences, and then they give us specific categories. Did it specifically compare the topics of gender relations and family structure? Yes, it did. It didn't just compare the origins of Catholicism and Buddhism, okay, or how far they spread or how they spread through trade and conquest. It literally is just talking about the gender and family aspects of it. Now, where they go wrong is with the grammar. So in this very last sentence, that's where they, just messed it up. In my opinion, number one, we don't care about opinions. Number two, we do not use first person. No me, I, we, and no second person. You, your, yours. Better is an opinion word, and couldn't is a contraction. We also don't want to give evidence like owning property or getting divorced in our intro. We want to save that for a body paragraph. For instance, the body paragraph on marriage. Okay, that might be some good information. Well, how do Catholics feel about divorce? Okay, so overall, you should have said that the context point was received, the thesis point was received, grammar, not so much. And that's because this last sentence, that's what really did them in. Now, looking over at the intro paragraph, okay, remember that you were supposed to write no more than 7 sentences, okay, so context and thesis, for your time frame. We know that Islam emerged in 610, then the Prophet lived all the way to 632. So we're establishing the emergence of Islam after the 600s, after the 7th century. In terms of categories, what changed because of Islam? What continued because of Islam? So we are going to talk about cultural practices. Culture can be religion, culture can be marriage, it can be language. We're going to talk about changes in continuity in the government or changes in continuity in the economy as it relates to the emergence of Islam. And of course, our historical thinking skill is continuity and change. It says it right here when I bolded and asked what changed and what stayed the same. Okay, that's what the word turning point is referring to. If you turn, that's a change. Now, it's important to note that the question is not asking us to talk about the cause and effect of how did Islam emerge, right? So we can use that instead as context for what we're going to talk about. So context for this time, if you're going to write about how Islam was a turning point, its emergence changed world history, it might be good to give a little background information on Islam itself. So 3 to 5 sentences. So you could talk about the Prophet Muhammad founding the religion when the Archangel Gabriel came to him on Mount Hira and gave him the recitation from the one true God. You can mention proper noun that was called the Quran. You could write about where Islam emerged in the Arabian Peninsula among the Bedouin tribe. And, of course, you're going to want to talk about when it emerged. Now, when it emerged, the major world religions had already been established for hundreds to thousands of years. So, big religions like Judaism, 2,000 years before the year 0. Religions like Buddhism, 500 BCE, so 500 years before 0. Hinduism, 2,000 years before 0. Christianity was really like the youngest one at, around 0 CE. Islam is kind of late to the party, right? So if you have all these major religions that are already pretty dominant in the area, okay, it's going to be really hard to compete with those other religions. But what we see happen is despite those obstacles, Islam is going to spread and culturally diffuse to a great extent, right? Through trade and through conquest. So if you can explain, there are all these other religions that were already entrenched, that now you have this new religion on the block and, is he going to make it? Is it not going to make it? Well, long story short, did make it despite being brand new. So if you can explain that in 3 to 5 sentences, that's your context right there. Note that I didn't talk about what changed and stayed the same in my context. I'm going to do that in my thesis. So in my thesis, I could have a category of what changed women's rights. Women's rights increased. Now, do I have evidence to prove that claim that I just made? I do. I have vocab words like dowry, prior to the emergence of Islam, the dowry or the bride price would go to the father or to the prospective husband, right? Because it was exchanging of property. Now, after the Prophet came down with the recitation of the Quran, the dowry actually went to the women instead of to men. And since the dowry is wealth and wealth is power, that increased women's power. We also saw the banning of female infanticide. Okay, female babies were no longer being killed due to patriarchal values of boys are preferred over girls, so on and so forth. You could divorce, you could remarry, you could own property. If we're going to talk a little bit about continuity, though, with women's rights, it's still a patriarchal society because patriarchy is a spectrum rather than just, it's definitively this or that. It's a society in which men tend to dominate positions of power. It doesn't mean that women never have any opportunity to acquire power or influence. So you could talk about what continued in terms of women's rights or in terms of women in culture is that it was still patriarchal. In fact, women, their testimony under Islam was worth 1/2 of a man's. Okay, so you do still see some continuities even if your main argument's going to be change. If you want to talk about nuance, right, you could also include the fact that polygamy continued. Polygamy was practiced among the Bedouin tribe in the Arabian Peninsula prior to Islam, and then it continued even after the emergence of Islam. But there was a new limit of 4 wives as the maximum, because that's what the Prophet had. So you can even tie that as complexity into your claim about women's rights increasing. They increased to a large extent, but does that mean it reached equality? No. You could also talk about change as it relates to the religion. Okay, the Arabian Peninsula had been very polytheistic. The Bedouin tribes have been polytheistic, with Allah as their main god, but there's still worship of other gods prior to the emergence of Islam. Well, Islam's pretty strict about the whole one God thing. I mean, it's part of the 5 pillars. It's the very first of the 5 pillars of the faith, is that there is no other God but Allah. So you could have evidence about that. Then you could also write about how the Arabian Peninsula prior to the emergence of Islam was very decentralized, it was fragmented, but then once the Prophet Muhammad starts conquering, first he went to Yathrib, which then became the city of the Prophet, Medina. When he comes back to Mecca and takes it back from the polytheistic leaders who had kicked him out or exiled him in the first place with the Hijra or the Hijri, right? He starts building an empire. He's not just the religious leader, but he's also the political leader at this point. And we see that the rightly guided caliphs after him, and then later the Umayyad and the Abbasid dynasty, continue that military political leadership. And that leads to the centralization of the Arabian Peninsula under an empire, led not by another prophet, because Muhammad is the last prophet, the final prophet, but instead led by a caliph with both political and religious power. Then, I'm trying to wrap this up. Trade continued. Okay, the Bedouin tribes were nomadic caravan managers, essentially. That was the main focus. It wasn't on farming, right? It was on trade routes, okay, with camels and caravans. Well, trade is going to continue to be very important after the emergence of Islam. In fact, that is one of the biggest ways that Islam manages to culturally diffuse throughout the rest of the old world during this time. It's more than just missionaries and more than military, okay? Merchant activity is going to be a huge factor in the spread and the dominance of Islam during this time period. So hopefully that was a good review of your homework. So I'm hoping that helped clear up any questions that you may have. And of course, feel free to email me if you do continue to have any questions.